Hey, good question. All right, so my friend asked me a question about doing burpees in class. In our program and even online, we talk about doing burpees off an elevated surface. She has a goal of being able to do them from the ground. You know, put the hands down. So you put the hands down, hop back, hop in, and come up. Now, a lot of people can do this, but if they do it, they're putting their knees, lower back at risk, unless they have some prerequisite abilities. All right, and so this is what you could work on if you wanted to build up to that. So a lot of times, we'll do it off a chair, we'll step back, step in, and come up, and so in class, we have these little risers here, and so we step back, step in. Now, what we have the nice handy dandy. We can start taking one away at a time. So now we're going a little lower, a little bit lower. Now, what does that mean as we go lower and lower and lower? Is it means my hands have to get closer and closer to the ground. As my hands have to get closer and closer to the ground, what's likely to happen is either I got to make up that range of motion in my ankles and my hips by dropping in here real nice, or I'm going to make up that difference in my back by put too much pressure on my knees. So that's why you don't need to just go jumping right into it. But some build-up things that you can do. One is, do work yourself down a little bit so you can find a slightly lower surface to work on. But the other thing I would probably work on is just working on a sit. All right, is working on just the kind of seated, I'll face on here, just squatting in there, but really not holding with muscles. You're just holding with flexibility. So you can even start off this up on the toes a little bit. Start here, put the hands down, and start slowly trying to ease yourself back. The goal here is to try to get flat-footed with a fairly straight back and be sunk down in here pretty good. Now, if you have that, what that means is, if I put my hands down now, I'm at the starting point for that burpee. And I've done this now with more ankle mobility and more hip mobility, less on the lower back. And actually it's less on the knees because of that. Now if my ankle's really tight and my heels are coming up here, it's actually still a lot on the knees. All right, but because I got my heels planted in there, even though my knees are forward, my heels are planted, it's still a little easier on the knee. All right, and so they're doing a nice burpee there. We go down, hands to the ground. Now, if I could do that from that position where my back is fairly straight, it's maybe have a tiny bend to it, and then it pops back, pops in, and then I can come back up. Now you can still do the step, as you're doing that stepping forward and back, but that will help you to start working on getting the hands lower. So spending just some time in a low spot. This was really helpful for many things. All right, so you can start with wherever you can get to. So maybe it's up in here for right now, but I would do, if it's high and you can't quite get lower, I would use something just to offset some of the pressure as you're working on it until you get to a certain point where it eases back a little bit. There, sink in there. This is a great stretch for me. All right, I think that would get you to that burpee, in a safe way. In a reasonable way, in a way that is repeatable, and you can do many burpees, without having, too many, pressure points and any negative side effects from that. All right, great question. Thanks for sending that to me.